Okay, we need to call this meeting to order. We're running a little late for the appreciation. Members of the commissioners abide by the Ethics Act. Raymond, will you give the invocation?
First and gracious God, we thank you for this beautiful day, Lord. We just ask you, Lord, you go with us, Lord, through this meeting. Lord, that we do the right thing for our county. Lord, and we just give you the praise and honor and the glory for everything, Lord. We ask you to be at the sick of our county. In your holy name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes in the agenda? Have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Approval of the minutes from October the 6th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? And cable.
I handed you all the sheet out here before the meeting. Just kind of want to explain what it is, and then a couple of things. I talked to Connie a little bit today. We talked about the baskets of money sort of that we've got moving forward, working with Golden Leaf, and that's what that second page was about. Just a little bit of update on the shooting range as well. A little bit of update on that. Should be by the end of the week. I have some type of letter to the gentleman that came from NRA, and we move forward on our process of trying to go through and work with that. There's a little bit of area with wildlife that we want to work out as we go through that and keep you talk about that. But that looks like that moving forward just fine. So good to know that. I think Kim and I have done some work on looking to see there's not any permitting issues up there as far as putting dirt and doing things down there. The letters from the EDC board, today we had a EDC meeting, and this is something that we've been working on, and I talked to you guys before about it. But the revolving loan fund that we would like to create, I had a gentleman by the name of Jeff Morris, who was recommended by the management team at Golden Leaf, Mark Schwartz and Dan Gerling, to contact in order to start working on a possible revolving loan fund to go with our EDC. What we're doing now. As you all know, and I want to say thank you as well for the fact of putting the money that's coming from the top into that grant program that we have in Graham County, which this will just go along with that. Now, our EDC will be able to offer a grants program twice a year and the possibility to fill a gap loan with this revolving line of credit. And this is asking, and it explains it out there, our pool of money that was left from the Stanley the grant that they gave Stanley Golden Leaf was $822,569 and some change. What the EDC would be asking for in total would be $265,000, which is $250,000 for the additional loan pool money, and $15,000 for Jeff Morris or someone of his caliber to set up a revolving loan program for us, and that requires quite a bit of work, some meetings, setting up an independent board from the EDC, which would be the governing body for the loans, and then actually it includes the loan programming and stuff to track the loans, and also for the interest calculations and things of that nature. Excuse me. And the forming the articles to form a nonprofit, which would be outside of the EDC. And there's some benefit to that as well. And But this is one of the objectives, and I'll go to this other page because I wanted to talk to y'all because eventually we're going to have to give some direction to Golden Leaf on how we want to use these funds. And I talked to Mark today, and for the piece of paper that you have, the second page is kind of how he broke that down for me, and I wanted to share that with you all, and would hope that we can move forward in those directions so that I'll know if I can go ahead and pursue this revolving loan. And you see on the right-hand side, the first page, that this is Stanley money that came to us, $822,569, which came back to us. What I was told today is that the county needs to put together some type of plan of use for that money, not just little bitty things, things that actually will make a tangible difference. The way I broke that down was the revolving loan fund, which I've been working on, 265. I know there's a healthcare initiative that's got a lot of strength and legs to it, hopefully. 475 would be the breakdown of that. And then the workforce education part of it. And the school has a project that they've actually submitted to the EDC for the wireless communication for the classrooms at the high school. That just takes it out of the box, and every classroom would have the same opportunity for the same amount of usage and bandwidth. That's a $75,000 project there. Still leaves a little bit over in that budget, but what needs, hopefully can happen is that someone will take those projects and actually submit them in a plan that lines up with one of our strategic plans, which these three things hit those, and submit that to Golden Leaf at some time. The other piece of paper that I brought is just some direction maybe to go forward with this, because we're at the point with the revolving loan fund that we can move now. That's something that I don't think Golden Leaf will move without a three-tier approach, or at least a county commissioner-driven direction. Second pool in the middle is the Golden Leaf incentive, or the community-based grants-making initiative. We had the opportunity to submit 3 projects for that for consideration. That's the 2016 award. We submitted 1 project that I know of, which was $1.8 million total project cost for Graham County Economic and Workforce Development Center. This Friday will be the next step of that. We'll see where our grant actually placed and what we need to do to correct it, or if it needs to have any correction at all. But when Mark and I talked today, these kind of people line up as what our initiatives are for the county. But where the window's kind of passed on that 115 or that $1.5 million to do anything else with it. The last part is always open, and I brought this up because I wanted to make some clarification in how this Golden Leaf actually structure works. And the competitive grant cycle is upon request during the grant cycle at any time. They'll ask us for some priorities as to how we want to rank those projects in that first time. Me personally, I rank the healthcare as number 1 because it's the biggest pot of money. You can see that. I think the revolving line of credit talks to the economic development and job creation that they would like to have in their initiative. And then workforce education and education as a whole falls into that third tier of initiative. So I guess I'm looking for 2 things. You know, more discussion needs to be made about the letter. It's good we have a full quorum today at our meeting, the EDC meeting. Tony, you were part of it, and we'd like to move forward with that. But also in the same, we need to provide Golden Leaf some feedback for this bottom one. And it can be inclusive of all 3, 1, 2, however many you all feel necessary, but we're ready to go on the revolving loan.
I've always been under the impression that we had, as a board, decided that we were going to use the Stanley money for our health care, and the Golden Leaf was okay with that.
I talked to Mark this morning with that. He said he needed something from the county to show us what direction that we needed to go. Because when I work on economic development, which is what that money was set aside for, to form the EDC in Graham County, that's how the paperwork was written when they done the money for the Golden Leaf structure. Do we touch workforce in that as we do this, or do we say the whole you know, that's kind of up to your all's discretion. If you do that, then I'll have to go back and punt on the work that's been done on the revolving loan funds. Or, you know, to me, we should have made sort of a structure here where we tried to get the $1.5 million to, or at least $750,000 of it for health care as we went through this process. But we didn't do that.
And then it's too late, the window's closed for the 1.5.
Well, I don't think the window will ever be closed with Golden Leaf to help us with health care, but that particular grant initiative is closed. Is that what lined up with what you heard, Becky, as far as the meeting with Dan and Mark earlier, the initiative, the health care, the workforce development, and the job creation and revolving funds? Yeah.
I don't know that much about it myself.
You want to discuss it?
Yeah, we need a little more discussion on it. I don't, I'm not for sure.
Would we be using tax dollars to secure these loans?
Nope, you're using the Golden Leaf thing. The money that's already in the county is not taxpayers' money. It was granted to Graham County to buy this equipment, Stanley Furniture.
But I mean, if we give a bad loan, if we make a bad note, and
Comes out of this pool of money.
it's just gone.
It could be. That's why.
Golden Leaf's not going.
Golden Leaf.
Would it be up to us to get the money back somehow?
The county will be responsible. That's why the nonprofit is set up. The nonprofit will be responsible for managing those notes. That piece of money is basically not ever going to leave the county if we do a good job managing. And what it's going to earn is between 6 and 8% interest. Whereas now that note sits in the bank for that money not earning, I don't know what's going to earn.
It's getting 0.001.
Yeah. So you could actually, if you do the revolving loan fund, it gives you the opportunity to say if the urgent care gets up and running and they need a bit extra piece of equipment, then the EDC can actually loan money, and we get money from what's going on with the health fund. I mean, it is another leg to what we're trying to do in Graham County, is to provide a place where business can do business, and that's what the grant program was. The revolving loan fund fits a niche between $5,000 and $50,000. Where Region A's money and their revolving fund doesn't touch. So what we could do, let's say somebody comes to the EDC with a good business, and that board's set up, they'll review what's there, then we could partner with Region A as well, where Region A will take 80% of that loan, and we're only holding 20%, which is what we want to do out of our funds. We want to leverage ourselves if we're in a good position as we do.
Okay, so it would be set up as a nonprofit.
Yeah, the management of the actual loan process was set up as a nonprofit.
And the lending is done by an appointed board?
It would have to be someone inside that nonprofit that would do it. A part-time person, in Valdez, Jeff Moore's, they set up a part-time person that was paid for the interest of the notes that doesn't work. They had one person that lending the money. $250,000 is not a lot of portfolio, you know that money. I mean, $8.5 million is a big loan portfolio, so it's not very much.
So it wouldn't increase our finance office's workload if the nonprofits administering the.
Now you had, all the thing they would be doing, and the way I understand that would be the audit process would still be a piece of the county, and we would never want that not to be.
Just
I
oversight.
mean, in my opinion, is that,
Yeah, the nonprofit would have to have an audit
that's right.
separate. It would kind of be a related party audit that we would pull into our main audit. And so we have to be real careful on setting up the internal controls and whatnot. make sure that there's no holes.
That's what the $15,000 is for, is to set all that done. And the reason that we went with, or started even talking to Jeff Morris is because that's who Mark and Dan told us, if we were going to do a revolving loan fund, go find Jeff Morris. And that's what he just actually happened to come to us in a roundabout way. But that's who we went out and found. And he was very successful in Valdez when they set it up. Their loan, I think they got $200,000 from Golden Leaf, and it turned into $2.5 million because they got USDA money and things of that nature added to their loan or their pool of money that they could loan out, because they done a good job with it. No, just like to your question, Jay, if we don't do a good job with it, you could lose it. I mean, it's an investment, just like.
That's risk.
Do they have to put up collateral in these loans?
Yeah, the way we would structure it, anything that you done, it would be not a signature loan, it would be like on real estate, on property of some nature, that'd have to be a collateral. If it was a business loan, it'd have to be a personal.
Or equipment.
It just works like a normal bank. The only thing that's different about it is it would be set up to fit the niche of where banks couldn't lend. Like, I'll give you a good example. We're living down here, they're going to expand, but the banks won't mess with them here in town, really, because they haven't been long enough in their business. Region A is going to come in behind them and loan them money, because they know the business is growing, they've got a good business model, good performer. And they'll take that, and hopefully then one of our local banks, once they get the shot in the arm from Region A or from here, we could help them, then the local bank will pick that up and take that off. It's just another thing that we add to our ability to serve the business in Graham County. But regardless, I think of the direction that you all decide to go here, I think we need to give something back to Golden Leaf on what that direction. You would think that too, Becky, from the conversation.
I was going to say, just based, I mean, I haven't spoken with them in months, but just based on the conversation in May, and then what I'm hearing this evening, they want to know what this board is intending to do. And, you know, they've given us a pretty good little span of time to come up with a plan, and I think they want to hear what the plan is. So it's real important.
Well, I've got that in my mind that we've already established that.
And
Did we do
probably
that?
they're at, from what I'm understanding, they need a letter. Am I right?
And what Mark has told me today was that we needed some type of plan and letter from the board to go along with what we want to use that money for and the priorities of what the board thinks the money should be used for. Because, like I said, I think they're getting asked from a couple of different areas, and would really like to know what the county as a whole, you know, whichever direction that is, would like to know what that is. I think you can rank it however you want to, but it needs to be ranked. And I talked to him this morning, Mark Schwartz, and I talked to him based on the recommendation of Jeff Morris, because Jeff went ahead and talked to Dan and Mark and said, hey, you know, this is a great idea what they've got going in Graham County, let's go with this. And I think they came back and said, well, we've asked them to tell us what we want, and that we don't really know what they want. So is this really something they want or not? I guess my biggest purpose here is to say, let's get a direction, whichever one you want.
Or maybe both. Or maybe both. Where does the confusion come from? The two different applications.
Well, I think some of the confusion comes from that we have a pool of money in Graham County to use for the initiatives that we want done in Graham County. Okay, once we decide what that is, then they opened up the grants in 2015, 2016, and we don't submit projects that they are hearing are important or not important. We end up submitting a project that is important and aligns with their goal, but we had the opportunity to submit 3 projects and really didn't do that. Because if you take the math just in general, you could have took the $265,000 revolving loan, you could ask for $750 for the workforce development, you could ask for another $750 for some health care, and still had $475 there to use. You could have made your money go a lot further, I guess, in my opinion. And even if you wanted an educational piece, you could have done it. They could have funded all 3 projects we might have, depending on what they want to do. But the thing is, we need to align what is the priority and what we're going to try to do, I think. You know, and to me, I think, in my opinion, just someone needs to gather that information for us. So here are our top 3 priorities, and write something back to Golden Leaf and say, hey, this is how we're going to use that money at some particular times.
Okay, and my understanding was healthcare, and then of course economic development and education, which the workforce
That's right.
application would fall into that. So that's pretty much my understanding of what our priorities were and the rank of the priorities.
Well, that's kind of how I ranked them here by the split of the money, just because more went to healthcare than anything else, but you still kept a leg that you could use in revolving on economic development, and you also had a leg that was part of that education. You kind of satisfied everybody by splitting that pot. But I don't think Golden Leaf's going to act on any of our initiatives until we get a consensus of that's the direction we're going and here's what.
Okay, should we be fortunate enough to get the middle money? Would it be mandatory that all that money be spent on the workforce
That's the way
center,
the grant was written. Yeah.
education? So it would have to be for that
And we
because
might
the
not
women
even get that
clothes.
amount. It could be something in between or less. I mean,
Okay.
you know, you could have ranked 3 projects in that pool and could split them, or you could have one that you want to send up, and that would be the top.
But I think what I'm trying to understand is, whatever, should we get money, whatever amount of money that we might get from that grant application would be spent for economic development.
It would be
And
spent
workforce.
for what we discussed before on the development, workforce development center.
Right.
That
It
goes
could-
along with school. That information I brought to you
Yeah.
all about the partnership, trying to fix the facility.
The building and everything. So, and if we got that, it could not, any of it be spent on health care?
The way I understand that, no, but I mean, you know, I think that would be up to Golden Leaf's discretion, but unless they supersede their grant parameters of what was in that grant.
Okay. Just wondered, thank you.
Like I said, I mean, you know, we just may want to discuss and decide which direction, but,
Yeah, we need to have a little bit more discussion on it. We'll try to have an answer before we leave this evening.
Yeah, and then we'll try to get back to give Golden Leaf whatever they need for them to help us.
yeah, I think there's, you know, if the pot of money has already been earmarked for something else, and, you know, we need to let Golden Leaf know, and then we need to stop sort of pursuing these other avenues. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Good evening. I have the financial highlights through go over that first. Our cash and bank balance in the general fund checking account at the end of September was $5,041,882. I was glad to see that bounce back above $5 million again because it dropped below. And as you can see, there's a reason that we need to maintain this amount of cash in the bank in here in just a second. We are still down from this time last year, but on a lighter note, we did close on the USDA loan last month and got that money back in the bank, and so that's helped boost our cash balance back up. If you'll turn to page 3, our tax collections for the month of September, it's highlighted in yellow. And the real property tax collections are $261,274. DFB and BTS, most of that is BTS, $30,631. You'll note that we're kind of running neck and neck as far as the current year taxes. We're behind this time last year in the old taxes, but that's because we've been working really, really hard on collecting old balances and doing foreclosures, and so we had gotten some big balances in this time last year on that. We are running behind this time last year in tax collections. If you'll look on page 4, you'll notice this time last year we had received our Brookfield payment. We still have not received that. It's a little over $1 million. I'm guessing that'll come in January the 5th. So you'll probably see from this point forward that we're tracking well behind this time last year, but you'll see it probably bounce up really good there in January. Our tax collection percentage at the end of September was 20.26%, and there again, it's way behind last year, but that's not without a lack of effort from our tax collector. That's just, they're holding their money, and I don't blame them. But we'll get it. If you look on page 6, our revenues for the month of September were $1,373,354. Expenditures were a little less than that, $1.14 million or $1.114 million. We had a surplus for the month of $259,000. It looks scary based on this time last year. We do have a year-to-date surplus of $194,000, but that's because we haven't gotten Brookfield. And we've also made some pretty nice little expenditures for capital outlay, trying to get some of those projects underway that we budgeted for. We're tracking just like I would have expected. Page 7, our sales tax was $133,854. This time last year, this is collections for August, we got this month $131,800. So we're a little ahead. We're actually positive. We're ahead of last year's sales tax by almost $18,000. I'm really pleased with that, especially since North Carolina no longer has this, sales tax holiday and different things like that. I was interested to see how that would fall out in retail sales for the month. Looking on page 8, our taxes receivable, our old balances have dropped to $179,700. Once again, a testament to our tax collector, the hard work she's done with foreclosures. Out of the old balance, if you'll recall, two years ago, this board made a commitment to go into the foreclosures. We said we'd collect that about $500,000. So far, we're at $430,000. So I'm real proud of the work that we've done. Any questions? Okay, I do have our budget report. Most of our departments are running right within budget. I'm real happy with that. A couple of them, like mine, are running ahead because I have a big audit fee I have to pay up front. So I'm the back child. But most of our departments are either running right within, or they're holding tight with their budget. The county as a whole, our remaining ideal percentage should be a 71. The county as a whole is at 77. So I really appreciate the hard work that the department managers put into saving every penny that they can save and staying within their budgets. We had to do this past year, I think, as far as budget amendments at the end of the fiscal year, probably the lowest amount of budget amendments I've ever had to make right at year end. So all of our departments really, really worked hard last year to stay within budget, and I think they're still working just as hard. Any questions on the budget? I do have some budget amendments. Just to kind of clean up some things as we go. I've got budget amendment number 4. This is one I should have made about a month ago, and I just got in the middle of audit. If you'll recall, we bought the KIP, and it was about $13,500. We had budgeted like we were going to pay it on a lease, and we figured out we'd be a whole lot better off with not paying any interest just to pay for the KIP because it will last us 10 years. So this first budget amendment relates to picking up the balance on the KIP, $10,745. Budget amendment number 5 is to pick up the grant that Grand County got from Duke Energy to help with Oak Valley, I think Oak Valley Hardwoods. We've paid them 3/4 of that grant. The other 1/4 will be held and pending their job retention requirements. But I went ahead and picked up the whole grant. Amendment number 6, we got some good news, and I do have something for Mr. Eller to sign here in just a moment. We got a new budget for the HCCBG, which is our senior meals. They gave us an additional $1,999. We got that news today, so this is to recognize that to support our home delivered meals program. Budget amendment number 7, we had the surplus auction a week ago Saturday, and Mr. Raymond Mills was a very great auctioneer, and we brought in $10,225 on vehicles. Some of those were sheriff impound cars, so that money will be restricted to the sheriff impound fund. One of the vans was a transit van, so that goes into the surplus fund balance for transit vehicles, and then the balance goes into the general fund. And then I have 2 capital project ordinances. We're getting ready to really totally gear up with our Part F project. And I went ahead and created the capital project ordinance on the Part F grant for $500,000 for the construction out of the Stanley Park. And then the last capital project ordinance, the board approved the 911 call center grant last meeting. This will be to recognize the expenditure of $401,528 that was approved by the North Carolina 911 board to construct the 911 call center. So these items will need to be approved by the board. Are there any questions on any of them?
Good. We have a motion.
We approve all of them as whole.
We approve them all as one.
Resolutions and ordinances.
Okay. Motion for all of them. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Couple more items and I'll be finished. I just want to give you an update. A few weeks ago, this board met with the town of Robbinsville about the pavilion that they got a grant from USDA, I think. And the town of Robbinsville asked this board if this board could help with that to the tune of $100,000. And first the finance officer went like that because we did not budget for such a project. However, I sharpened my pencil and this board asked me to try to come up with the money, and I have. We've had $8,375 that came from the sale of the vehicles. That's unrestricted. We also got a really nice surprise. We have a workers' comp auditor who is so nice. And he really sharpened his pencil with our workers' comp audit, and we got a check in for $40,417 that I had not budgeted for. And then I did the sales tax refund report for the last fiscal year, and we'll be getting $49,239. So we like $1,969 for our goal. If that is the board's desire to appropriate that money in that direction.
Do you need a motion? I'd like to make a motion that we appropriate these funds toward building the pavilion on Main Street.
Do we have a second?
Are you gonna,
Second.
we gonna have any discussion on it?
If you want to.
Pending, the board's approval of adequate plans and
Yeah.
agreement on that?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And I did talk with their finance officer at the town of Robbinsville, and they have been working with McGill.
Right.
And they are going to, instead of building a model, they're going to create a virtual model. When you guys, if you guys decide to have a public hearing, they can put up on the screen, and the public can have input, and they can say, well, we'd like this here and not there, and they can do it all on the computer so that the people can see what they create.
Right, they can make the changes. If anybody has a suggestion, they can amend it right then.
So I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Just a couple more things and then I'll be quiet.
We need to vote on that?
I'm sorry.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Sorry, my ADD kicked in. The audit is complete for all intents and purposes. I worked really hard with the auditors last week, and it will probably be submitted by the end of this week to the Local Government Commission. We do have a clean opinion in the financial statement portion, but we will have a modified report on the single audit with DSS. I did meet with the DSS board yesterday. They have constructed and created a corrective action plan for the findings on the audit. And I have to commend their income maintenance supervisor. She did a lot of the work with it. And I think that they finally, I believe they're going to have a path going forward to correcting their issues. So hopefully we won't have this issue again. But we are looking at least on the financial statement side, it's a clean opinion. One more thing. Jason Sawyer asked me, of course this was a few weeks ago and I'm not sure because honestly I don't follow the Little Midget Mountain football very closely, but in the event that our teams go to the Cracker Bowl, and the Cracker Bowl is hosted here in Graham County, he has requested that he be able to use some of his lifeguards he used this summer at the pool and pull from that pool budget for like 2 days for 3 workers. I checked his budget in the pool. I think he'll be fine because he was able to be really frugal on the pool budget this summer, and he'll have enough to carry him into the end of the fiscal year. We wanted to double check to see if the board would be pleasing to the board if he can get the workers to work.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Juanita?
Leave.
Good afternoon, can everybody hear me? I just wanted to update you on the urgent care. Ann Braswell will be here the 9th and the 10th to look at the sites, work on the RFQ and the RFP process. On a side note, with what Andy had said earlier and what I was listening to, I think some of the confusion might lie in the fact that when we met with Dan and Mark in July, I believe that the conversation was we were going to utilize the money for urgent care. That was our understanding. It's lying in the bank. I think to equip that, it's going to take those monies. I can't promise you we can get them all. But a lot of good feedback from Ann on the sustainability of this and the work that we've done on this so far. I can't make any promises, but I think it should be first priority. And I think the confusion may lie if Andy's applying for it, and we've already told them that it's urgent care. They're thinking you, as a board, have changed your mind and you're saying, we want part of it for this and part of it for this. So that's probably the reason that they want a letter. We sent a timeline to them of when this feasibility study would be completed. I sent the entire grant to Dan and Mark. They know just exactly where we are with that. They told us in July there was no rush. They knew exactly where we are. They know what we're doing. They know this takes several months. Your money's safe with our land right now. They're not going to take that at this point in time. I asked him that question specifically. Are we in such a crunch that we can't get this? And he said, oh no, you're okay. You get that done, then we'll see where we go and what if it's showing sustainability from a good independent firm. That's my perception of everything I have spoke to them. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Earl Sellers.
First of all, I'd like to say that I didn't come here to get anybody in trouble, don't want anybody fired, but I'm not happy with Graham County Tax Office. I will be very brief. About a week ago, my neighbors came to see me on Friday evening to tell me that they'd been notified of foreclosure and auction of my property. They have been notified that their houses deed that covers only land of 53 acres on Campbell Street. At one time, it was drawn and landed pretty close to correct. My deceased wife's niece went up and got some maps that showed different last week. It showed all her houses drawn in the land that I own. They immediately thought that I was trying to take their property after my wife being deceased. I'm not happy. I was delinquent on my taxes. I owed 2 years past taxes plus 2015. I paid all of those off this afternoon. I would ask that my wife's brothers, my brother-in-laws, all my neighbors, be written a letter of apology that their houses are not on my property and that their houses are not in danger of being foreclosed or sold at auction.
Earl, you want to step over and give Kim the names to who we need to notify?
I'll let you know. Thank you for your time. I apologize.
Thank you, Earl. Alicia?
Good evening. Thank you for the supper tonight. That was very nice. Come to you tonight just to kind of give you an update on one of the activities that the health department is required to do. Based on bioterrorism and preparedness contract and agreement agendas that we receive every year for funding for those programs, we are required once every 5 years to participate in what's called a full-scale exercise, preparedness exercise, that includes multiple partners within the community. We have been working on this for about 6 months. Emergency Management, Larry has been very highly involved in this as a partner with the public health on doing this, along with multiple other partners such as the school, Smoky Mountain, or Appalachian Community Services, DSS, Dispatch, U.S. Forest Service is now involved, but several people have been involved, Sheriff's Department, in this, in the planning process. We are now down to the final week prior to the exercise. The exercise will actually be held on Monday, the 26th, at the Rockwell High School Middle School Wrestling Facility. This is, the scenario is an anthrax release. We are stating that this is an exercise of the fact that a drone possibly releases anthrax powder over the football stadium on Friday night of this week. Luckily, there's not a football game, so hopefully nobody will believe this. But that is the exercise that we're doing. Of course, come Saturday, after about 10,000 people have been exposed to this powder, multiple people supposedly, based on exercise, get very sick, start reporting to hospitals, start getting calls from them, calls from urgent care, calls from the ambulance service of increased transportation. At that point in time, we will open up an EOC at the Emergency Management Facility here in Graham County on Fort Hill. We will do evaluators. On Sunday or Saturday night, we will request, based on the email that hopefully will be printed and for record, request the S&S asset from the CDC to be able to treat the people that was involved in this. We will be getting from the state of North Carolina an actual asset delivery. It will just be empty pill bottles, of course, because it is an exercise. We will be exercising our capacity and core capabilities, 3 different core capabilities. We're exercising the protection, response, and recovery. We will open up at the Wrestling Center on Monday morning, starting at 7:30. We'll do a call down to all of our staff at 7 o'clock on Sunday or Monday morning. to open up a full-scale local receiving site and point of distribution site at that wrestling center. We're fortunate that the school has also agreed to participate in this, of course providing the area for us to have the exercise, and they will also be providing around 250 students that will play as actors during this exercise. So we will operate in full function as if it was a full real-life emergency. Right now, after we finish the exercise, we will have the hot wash at the end of that exercise, starting at 11 o'clock on Monday, and then we will develop an after-action plan and improvement plan from that exercise to be able to carry forward and be able to use for the next 5 years before we plan and prepare for another one. This is a preparedness exercise to be able to prepare for any type of real-world emergency that would require us to be able to vaccinate or provide medication or any type of medical countermeasure to the public here in Graham County within a 48-hour time period. The health department, as you see, will be closed during this time because it does take all staff, with most staff wearing multiple hats to be able to do this. That is probably already one of the identifications of a weakness that we have, that if we ever did have the situation where we had to provide this to over 8,000 people, we would have to train additional county employees to be able to help us, because even running an hour-and-a-half pod, we have to use every staff member we got and put multiple hats on. So that's something that we've figured out that, we may have to start looking at, is also training other county employees to be prepared to be able to help us through the different shifts that we would have to operate for 48 hours. That's pretty much a quick and dirty on the exercise play that we'll be doing. And again, this is an exercise. I have to keep saying that over and over so nobody really believes that anthrax release in Graham County. Do we have any questions?
You wrap it up at noon, is that what I'm hearing?
We are going to wrap it up at noon and we will be feeding all players. Anyone is welcome to come. Anyone can come and observe. We will have the observation area and media area. We also have multiple players from other counties that will be coming in, and they will also be playing in as players and actors for us. We have North Carolina Emergency Management, North Carolina Public Health Preparedness and Response that will also be participating in this exercise. And the dogs. Any additional questions?
I'm good.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
what do you need? Well, I've got a little break. What do you need? Well, you need to just call her. Right. I do.
Come on.
You don't have no time now? Oh, she does.
Hello. On this topic of the foreclosures, I was mandated 2 years ago to start foreclosures.
Pull them out towards you.
Better? Is that better?
Everybody here?
Can you hear me now? But I was mandated 2 years ago to take any and all actions legally by my own also to do foreclosures. But on this particular instance, there was no notice given. I was actually doing research, pulling my deeds, trying to locate. No notice given to anyone. I pulled that plat or that property map and it showed the whole area as of one of the homeowner's residents. I did call it up because I thought he may have a plat, something that designated his lines on his property. I asked her where that was at, and she said she would get in touch with her family and see if there was a plaque on that. They looked at their safes or their boxes to see. They did not have one. I notified Junior, and I think Earl also did too. But I don't care if it show you any of the paperwork I've done. I went back 30 years, the deed dating back to 32. I've got 3 different papers. I have 2 on record. One that I did not show map, which was a 15-acre piece. Me and Junior has actually cooperated and got that together today. He sent it to me by email. I have a new plat, 30 picture frame of the map. But when I do foreclosures, I by law have to look back 30 years to make sure that I'm covering everybody. any kind of lien, any kind of mortgages, anything that's out there that can generate in my tax base. The towns, Robbinsville, Santina, any and all. And then when I do that, then I notify the persons or persons that has any interest in this land by certified mail. I have not sent the first certified mail to one person. It's
So
not that.
No notices have been sent,
No.
is that what you're saying?
No, ma'am, not one. I was actually trying to find the correct amount, because when I generate something and it goes to the clerk of court, or if it goes to the courthouse to actual foreclosure, I have a map. Here's the piece of property, here's what it looks like. I have the tax bill that's actually due. This is the amount, plus there are going to be fees added for the courts, for our mailings, for all the other things that we have to add the fees to, which is input back into their bill. And I have the map, the tax bill, and my records. I take them up front. And I have a form, I go by dollar amount. You're more than welcome to come look anytime. I start at the top. My job is to collect taxes and bring revenue to the county. I started at the top, that's fair. I don't pinpoint this one or that one, I'm going down the line. There's some that are under appeal, I cannot touch. But if I can do a garnishment, or a bank attachment, or a rent attachment, I'm gonna do that first. But in some instances, you cannot. I have got one that is a problem, because all the residents and their, I guess the heirs are like in Kentucky and Ohio. Well, I've still got that. I've got it here, it's a problem. I've got it in a problem file. I've worked on it. I kind of got tired working on it for a minute. I put it back. But as you can see, I'm doing everything that's just legal and that I can be for anyone to come and see. So, I mean, if there's any kind of questions, I don't care if you look at my file. I've got the deeds, and also, at the first, we put them in the newspapers. I've got a heading that says, all real property, business and real, was delinquent on January 6th. And it is delinquent, that they've got interest. And are now subject to garnishment of wages, bank accounts, attachments, debt set-off, and or foreclosure as of the 6th, because it is a lien upon itself in your real property. Personal property, you have to levy to have it a lien. And there's a amendment there. I've got him to actually have us look at today about doing the executions for that.
So all this probably spun from asking the family member a
If they
question.
had a plaque or a drawing from that, and it's just kind of, and I apologize to him and I apologize to them too. But as far as notices, I'm not sending one. I've tried to find the correct piece of land if I do go to the foreclosure, if it goes that far, which it apparently is on, he paid it today. And that was good, I thank him for that. But as far as any errors that I have done, I do not see any.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome anytime to come over and visit.
All right.
Doors open.
We appreciate you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Anytime.
Jack Gross.
Good evening, Jack Gross. I reside out of town of Lake Santima, and I've been here the past few meetings, bringing up the matter of the fees that are being collected out here, and I believe the county should be entitled to them, not the town. I did, as I promised last time, follow through by contacting the state level of the Department of Insurance, trying to get a legal opinion as to whether what they were doing out there was all right. And the only way I can put it is I don't think he wants to get involved in it at this time, just coming from me, the average citizen. If it was from an attorney or something like that, it may be different. I've provided financial officer with the list of charges that the county charges, and comparatively and exponentially, the town out there collects 3, 4, 5 times as the size of the square footage grows. It adds up to a lot of money. I believe the county is in a position of power when it comes to this. If they were to write a new contract, and I've spoken to the building department gentleman, and of course he explained to me that this would have to be done countywide. I don't think there's any other towns or cities that collect these fees. But if you did come up with a new contract and were able to get in there, all fees would be coming to the county. The town is in no position to have an inspector appointed by the state and then turn around and be mandated to install an entire real board of inspection and so forth and so on. So in the long run, I think the county has the upper hand, and the residents that have paid these fees in the past and continue to pay these fees consider their pockets being picked by this town, not this county. And the majority that I've spoken to would much rather see this go into the coffers of the county than the coffers of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion items.
Okay, we first have releases and discoveries. There were no discoveries. We have releases in the amount of $5,884.55.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
The next paperwork, and it's behind your agenda, Tawana Ledwell is asking permission to develop an order authorizing the execution. This is to the sheriff of the county. This is something she has to do for the levy on the taxes. And at the next meeting, will you please have the commissioners to issue an order under provisions of the General Statutes 105-367B, authorizing the collector to direct executions to the sheriff of Grant County. This is just an order for personal property levies, so that they can do the sale and pick up and hold the property for the tax collector's office. This is not for real property. This is for personal property.
No.
Is that a renewal, or is that a new mandate, or what is that?
I don't think we've actually ever done that. We have some houseboats and some boats that have not paid their taxes, and in order for her to legally do it right, she has to have this approved.
It used to be whenever you served execution, you had to pay a lawyer about 3 or 4 hours of their time.
Yeah.
And it's back in
Now
98.
she can do it.
Yeah.
But you have to do it as a board to authorize her, and it authorizes the sheriff to collect the items and bring it to the sheriff's department.
Yeah. Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Now, is that all? Do we need to write up an order, or just?
The statute.
There's one on the back page, Connie.
Okay.
That's an example, yeah. Okay, the next item, we need a travel and tourism board reappointment. Jeannie Stewart no longer works for Montana, and the name that was given to me was Greg Corbell. I hope I spelled his name right.
You did.
He is the new
General manager.
at Montana.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, the next one is a reappointment of Marshall McClung to the Nantahala Regional Library Board. I've spoken, and Marshall McClung does not want to serve on this board any longer. I have reached out to Ms. Russo because I knew she was involved, and she does know someone who might be interested. I have no names to submit, so if it's okay to table this until we can get some names, would you be agreeable to that?
Table to the next meeting?
Yes.
What about the commissioner on that board?
That's totally up to you.
You volunteering, Marty?
I'm on that. We used to serve on that board.
I will.
Is that a motion? Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second. Raymond.
Second.
All in favor? Yeah.
Bill.
Okay, in the envelope to your left is the library roof bids. Inside that envelope, we need to open those.
I do not know when it will be, and I think they will turn it on Friday.
Betterbilt General Contracting is the first one. On the inside.
Just have one.
No, there's two.
I think I asked them to give us a quote for both ways, architectural shingles and metal roofing.
Yeah.
One of them is 123, 654, 83. And
123,000, which one is that for?
that would be the metal roof.
Okay.
How
And
much?
123,000.
And the other one is for shingle roof, 64,101.44.
And that also is fixing all the bad places under the eaves, right?
Solid.
So, David,
Yes, complete.
Sir.
That's a complete redo.
And who was that bid from?
Betterbilt.
Okay.
General Contracting.
And David always fixes up the ads to go on the paper. He had a pre-construction bid meeting at the library also, so I commend him and thank him for all the help that he does for me as well. I'd like for that to be done.
And this is from Robbinsville Custom Molding. The shingles is $64,670. And the metal roof is $102,390. So they're both pretty close.
let's see, G10.
That's Betterbilt. Yeah, Betterbilt was just a little bit lower, like $300.
Yeah, about
$300,
$500.
$200.
Yeah.
Opinion, David.
He can't hear you, Brian, what you said.
I said opinion on this.
He can't tell what you said about Brian said. He can't hear you.
Betterbilt was 64,144 and custom molding was 64,670. About,
The numbers for shingles are right, on what we're gonna do.
No.
That's just not shingles, that's all the repair.
But
So, I'm happy with that number, yeah.
They're gonna do the soffits and stuff like that.
No, the soffits. The soffits down below that we've been working on, everything at the top we've been working on, that needs to be worked on. The directive I have is the roof. We're gonna do new gutters, new fascias, new everything that needs to be done. Except, all we'll be lacking will be just the paint. We're gonna paint everything back to replace, but the whole building, I was hoping by the numbers that Becky and I have, we could eventually paint maybe next spring. Right.
What funds do you have for that, Becky?
We budgeted 85,000.
Very
What was that?
This is yours, 64,670.
So we need to just.
Machines and stuff.
Many years.
That's
It's 25, 30 years
Yeah,
old.
about
Is it
20.
30 years?
So,
years with the shed.
that's what we generally,
Yeah. Okay.
That's depending on, when we get in there, and done on that road.
yeah, that's something else we
Hopefully
don't.
they're
That's another
done
one.
on the roof. We'll look up in there.
I make a motion that we go with lowest bid.
Second.
And pending on whatever they find under the roof, that would be
Well, that would be a change order. Fine.
change
Yeah.
order.
We'll have to come back to the board on that.
Who got the lowest bid?
Fairfield.
Good here.
$64,101.44.
Right.
Custom molded, $64,670.
Yeah, I knew the metal was going to blow out of the water, there's no way.
No, that's shingles.
No, I'm talking about the general. So,
Did you want the price on the metal?
no,
No, we need it.
I just didn't see that.
Okay,
It has shingles on it right now, right?
it's got
No,
metal,
it's got a lotion on it right now.
That's a good
and it's leaked under it probably, so we don't know what may happen under. I know, we had loose tin down there, loose metal, and there wasn't nothing to attach screws to, as building maintenance said. So we know we've got some bad roof. Okay, we have a motion to accept the lowest bid and a
And a
second. All in favor? Okay.
All right, the next thing is, this is just a FYI, we have received our confirmation of the asbestos proposal from the upper plant demo, and everything was fine, and they are, I guess if you drove by there, it's down on the ground, and they're taking their mains off, so everything's going well on that side.
Where they all at?
Baldwin, Sioux, or Cherokee County.
I don't know where that company hauls to.
Now, once, and this is maybe a little bit confusing, once they evaded the asbestos and got a lead paint approval, they can use stuff like block and brick and concrete, paving where they want, steel or whatever. It's not that they have to take it down there. As long as they clear all those.
Right.
Recycle.
I assume they would recycle the metal themselves, that would be the smart move.
They are, they're putting it up after the driveway, or they can stand up where the shop is, they're crushing it, because they got so it can be recycled again. They just where it's going to break the block.
That's good.
I think they should be done with the leak that
I think there was a 45-day schedule, okay? The next item, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony on our new helipad at Almond. It's Friday, October the 30th at 10 o'clock a.m. So mark that on your calendars.
And it's already been used twice?
Yes, we have already we used it the first, I think they finished it on Friday, we used it on Monday. I mean, there was like within 2 days after they finished it, we used it.
We used it last
Yeah,
night.
and Swain County will also be at that ribbon cutting with us.
Did they send them back home? Last night? When? Who died up there where they picked him
No,
up?
no, that's a different one.
Huh?
That's different. Different person.
All right, Rick Parham has started on the project at the B&J ball field on our concession stand. He started on that project today, so that was just a FYI as well. We did have to cut one tree that was overhanging, and they did ask if they could have the
Was it in the creek?
long, it's hanging over the building. And do y'all mind if the school takes the butt of the, it's a log of the tree he can use for other things in the shop to the school.
Fine.
And the rest of it is being cut up for firewood
That's good.
to give it to the
Inmates.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that is all I have, unless anybody has anything for you or old business.
JJ talked to me about the bucket truck,
About what?
the bucket truck.
Yes, about purchasing the bucket. It was a little too high, so if you don't mind, can we table that?
I know we have need of the bucket truck, and we have used it quite a bit, but the price, Gavin and I spoke about it, and we felt like that was a little bit more than the county would probably go for. But now I'm gonna, let me, if you don't mind, let me do a little bit more pricing, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I want you to have all the facts.
Well, the only thing about it, if you buy a used one, from John Doe, you don't know what it is. I know what that is. I seen it work for 8 days.
15,000 is what it came in.
Let's do some price check before we jump on that. Anything else in your own business? Do I have a motion to go into close under GS 143-318, 1A 136, privilege and confidential, motion attorney-client privilege,
So moved.
with a 10-minute break.
Second.
All in favor?